Okay, hello and welcome to today's Microsoft Word and Microsoft Excel versus Apple Pages and Numbers. Okay, so we have Windows 10 over here on the main screen, the big one, and then off to the side we have MacOS, Big Sur over there, and yeah, running MacBook Pro. Alright, so let's start by opening Microsoft Word on Windows. So I'm going to zoom in on this screen. Okay, so I'm going to open up Microsoft Word, and already the interface is very elegant. On the left you have your recent docs, on the right you have featured templates. It's all very polished and high quality. And now let's have a look at macOS, which interface, let's see. Alright, I'm going to launch Pages. And remember, Pages is a built-in app to macOS. So we won't be expecting it to be the most amazing app in the world. Okay, so let's go ahead and open it, and excuse the kind of crooked video, if it is. Okay, so we're launching Pages. Already you can see this looks nothing even close to Word. This is just a file explorer window, or the Finder window. That's what this is. Just the files. You don't actually get the real Pages GUI until you open a file. Like, open a file, and suddenly you get the Pages GUI with the regular menu bar on top. Okay, so let's open a file in Microsoft Word now. Go back over here and open a file. Oops, doesn't have the mouse button on. Alright, so already this again looks a lot more polished and clean than Pages over there on a Mac. You can see up top you have the cool menu bar, you have a bunch of tabs, controls at the bottom. Now mind you, this is MS Word 2016, so yours, if you're Microsoft 365, you might look at it a bit different. You have the search up here, quick access toolbar. Now let's look over at Pages again. Okay, so that's the Pages UI right there. And sorry for it being a bit dark there, I don't gotta dial it up. But the Pages UI is in dark theme. Now, that's one thing that Pages has that Microsoft Word doesn't, a dark theme. Yeah, everybody's always wanted a dark theme because it's relaxing and it's overall like the best theme anyone would want. So Pages has a full dark theme over here. Everything's gray-black, while Microsoft Word doesn't have that. It only has white and gray, I think, and colorful, and it's in colorful right now. So let's take a bit closer look at the Pages interface. So on the right, which is also very completely different from Microsoft Word, we have the font controls, the text, the spacing, basically all the text formatting. Over here on Microsoft Word, however, there are no bars. There's no such thing as a bar on the right or left of the Word window. It's all on the top. It's all loaded completely on the top. Whereas Pages, spin around here, it's just on the side. Okay, so now let's look at the other tools, like inserting shapes and pictures and things like that. Okay, so I'm going to run over to the MacBook, and I'm going to click on the shapes, and you can see a big drop-down comes up over there. So you can insert basic geometry, objects, animals, nature, food, and that's one thing that I think Microsoft Word lacks. Basic icons and shapes and symbols like that. Because for Microsoft Word, all you can do is, let me go over to the Insert tab, because that's where you find the inserts. you click on pictures and you can either select a file like this, or you could right click it, choose online. You could do online pictures, and that would be like Microsoft Bing image search. So basically, the Microsoft Word imaging finding controls like symbols and things like that doesn't even approach that of Pages. As you can see over there, it has all kinds of nifty little symbols and things like that. Okay, so let's now look at image controls. So let me insert a photo. Insert any photo here, and you can see it inserts it right here. This is the same way as any word processor does. Alright, so on the right you can see the bar changed, and there's an additional tab now. So you have Style, Image, and Arrange, 3 tabs. On the Style tab you can choose the borders, all kinds of things. Of course Microsoft Word does that. Let me highlight a photo in Microsoft Word and I'll spin over. So I've highlighted that photo in the center over there. And on the top you can see a Picture Tools Format tab just appeared out of nowhere. So I'm going to click on that and see what it has to offer. It looks like the Picture Tools format thing has much the same as Pages does. All the same borders, but Microsoft Word looks like it has a bit more variety of borders than Pages, because Pages has 6, and as you can see there are way more than 6 here, and plus there's another page of them too. Also included in Microsoft Word are picture effects like shadows, bevels, 3D effects, glows, and well, Pages has some of that, like borders and shadows and things like that, but it doesn't approach the 3D bezels and stuff, the cool things like that Word has. Now here is one of the features that I love about Microsoft Word so much that I wish Pages could have. Okay, so back up here on the toolbar, let me zoom in, and you can see that artistic effects button over there. So, what happens when you click that? Well, you get a whole list of different effects you can put on, like, for example, paint strokes, film grain, like make it look like you drew it with a pencil, that kind of stuff. That's one thing that Microsoft Word really has. It's really an advantage over Pages users, because I've always wanted Pages to have it, but Pages has not added it, which is why I would say Word is much better than Pages when it comes to imaging and styling images. Okay, so let's move on to the next thing. We're going to start with Microsoft Word, and it's going to be about designing text and fonts and things like that. Okay, so this is the font area, paragraph styles. There are a myriad of styles in here. You can modify them by right-clicking it and selecting Modify. Note that if you're on Word Online, which is the free version of Microsoft Word, you will not be able to modify styles. Now let's spin over to Pages. I'm going to create a new file, and I'm going to add some text so we can see a demo of the font formatting. So Control N, new file, over here, blank landscape. And over here, you can see the font controls. You can have all kinds of fonts. I would say that both Microsoft Word and Apple Pages have the same number of fonts, because there are so many here. There's like tons and tons and tons. But Microsoft Word also has a lot. If you look over at the Word window, back over here, I've installed some, of course, but here are a few. You scroll down and you see a lot more, tons and tons of tons. Of course, some of them are Microsoft only fonts, but yeah, that is a lot of fonts, a lot. Okay, so Microsoft Word and Pages have all the basic bold, italic, underline, color, all kinds of things like that. But one thing that Microsoft Word doesn't have, one thing that Microsoft Word has that Pages doesn't is the Erase All Formatting button. You see that little A with the eraser in it in the font group in the upper right corner? That erases all the formatting for the selected text. So I'm going to select this. I'm going to click that button, and immediately you see it turns the default Calibri light over there to the default font size and things like that. You see, back over here, if you look at Pages, Pages does not have that capability. Let me close the font window. You see, nowhere in here there's an erase formatting button because, well, Pages doesn't have that capability at all. Another thing that Pages has is styles, which is just like Microsoft Word, except I think that Microsoft Word has many more styles than Pages because style over here, just click the arrow over here and you can see a few styles. However, Microsoft Word has many more, as we looked at earlier, and I think Microsoft Word styles are better. Furthermore, I think you can edit styles in Pages, but I don't think the style editing tools are as intuitive as they are in Microsoft Word. So I would give Microsoft Word a plus for styles and formatting on that one. Alright, so let's now look at reviewing tools and spelling, dictionary, grammar checking, and things like that. Let's start with Pages this time. Okay, so let's start with the word counters and paragraph counters and things like that. You might be able to see the gray box down at the bottom of the screen over there. So I'm going to click the little up-down arrows. Right now it just says 0 characters, and I'm going to type some things. Now it says 30 characters because it's keeping track of the characters, just like Microsoft Word. So they have paragraph words, pages, characters without spaces, characters with spaces, basically much the same as Microsoft Word over here. So you can see the word counter over there, says 23,000 over there. So if you click on it, you can see a list of statistics. So basically all the same stuff, except Microsoft Word lists lines, while Pages doesn't. I don't see how that's very helpful, but I mean, you know, you could mod that in certain situations. It also include text boxes, footnotes, and endnotes. I don't think Pages has that because I don't see an option for that in the menu over here. But it could be hiding somewhere else. I just don't think it has it in general. Okay, so let's bring it back over here. Now, here, we're at another one of these points again. Here's another feature that I really like in Microsoft Word. It's called readability statistics. And I don't know why I don't have the grammar icon down here. I need to add that. Okay, so I am going to click on this. Well, in order to actuate the readability statistics, you need to go into options, you need to go into proofing, and you need to check the readability statistics box. Now when you click on this, and when we close it again, it's weird. Yeah, Microsoft Word has a bug in this way. You check the readability statistics box, but then when you click it, it doesn't show the dialog box that it's supposed to show. That's always the problem. Maybe you need to restart it. But yeah, Microsoft Word has readability statistics. All that basically is like readability grade levels based on Flash, Kitsade, and levels like that. Pages does not have anything that would even approach that. It just has your basic word counting tools back over here. So Microsoft Word definitely did a better job with word counting and proofing, though Pages does have the necessary tools that you would need to measure word counts and basic things like that. Okay, so now let's look at grammar checkers. And let's start with Microsoft Word. So already, you can see I have the grammar box open. So the grammar box that you're seeing right over there opens whenever you click on that little book icon over there. It might have a check mark, meaning that you have no errors, or it might have an X, meaning that your text has some errors. So if you click on that, this box will appear, and any errors will show. And depending on whether it's a spelling error or grammar error, a title will appear on the top of that box. Sometimes you'll show a let's see, it will show a fix thing where you can just click the fix button or whatever, but sometimes it says, because it doesn't know what you actually want to say, and it says consider revising, like that. Yeah, that's what it's going to say. But for some issues, it'll like say a sample and a description of the error if it's grammar. And then spelling, you can just right click any spelling errors. So like, let me add a spelling error over here. And then you see it highlighted in red. Just right click and you'll get a pop-up menu. And then, well, Microsoft Word has another bug in this way, because sometimes it doesn't even appear in the menu, but sometimes it does. So here is the menu that appears when you right click a misspelled word. Spin over here. Okay, so you can see a list of suggested words, ignore, or add to dictionary. Those are your options for misspelled words in Microsoft Word. Very basic tools. And then over here there's also a spelling box as expected. You have ignore, ignore all, or add, or change all buttons. Basically the same as the integrated right-click system. Okay, now let's spin over to Pages. I'm going to turn on the spell checking since I didn't do that yet. Hide smart annotations. Okay, so I think in order to activate the smart annotations or whatever the underline red spelling errors, you need to go into preferences over here. Okay, so I'm going to click auto correction over here, and I'm going to correct spelling words automatically. I'm not going to do that because then it will just fix it. Okay, however, it does not appear, Pages does not appear to have word checking tools. Instead, it just lets the error go and doesn't highlight it in red or anything like Microsoft Word does, which is like really astoundingly bad, because spell checking, well, the solution for the lack of underlined red spelling errors in Pages is the word correction. Whenever you make an error, it will change the word to the word that you think that it thinks it should be, which is nothing that even compares to Microsoft Word's amazing tools, because it's like sometimes it might not get it right. The word that you thought, the word that it thinks may not be the word that you preferred, in which case you have to backspace and fix it. And sometimes it will persist to use that word. So Pages really did not do a good job on proofing or anything like that. Okay, so let's move on to our final category, which is views, and we'll be starting with Microsoft Word. Okay, so down here you can see the view controls. Basic controls such as zoom. You can put the zoom way up and make the text really huge. You can make it really small. In Microsoft Word, it goes all the way up to 500, as little as 10%. And there's a little detent in the center, which is 100%. Okay, so now, very basic controls, the usual things. But then, Microsoft Word has more tools, like changing to web view and things like that. So right now we're in main one-page view. Click on read mode down in the lower right corner, and you get into like a book simulation mode. This is what it looks like. So that's like higher level view. And then you can click on web view, which basically views your document as if it were a web page. So this is what it looks like. I don't really want to use a reader view or web view when I'm writing, because it just disrupts the formatting, but yeah. You can also click on the View tab over here. We have several options that Microsoft Word provides you, such as like one-page read mode. So basically, it's an addition to the controls found in the lower right corner. Okay, so now let's spin over to Pages, where we're going to have a look at the view controls in Pages. Alright, so for view, you can see the zoom already up in the upper left corner. Just right click it or click the little arrow over there and you can see a list of zooms over there, like 100%. It's not the same as Microsoft Word, whereas Microsoft Word would have a slider, but over here it's just you choose. Another thing you could do is just drag, like pinch the touch bar and stretch. That's another way to expand. You see, it zooms. Of course, Microsoft Word doesn't have that because it's not meant for tablets. Obviously isn't. Because with Microsoft Word, you have to either use Control plus minus or just use the slider. Okay, so now let's have a look at some of the more advanced tools that Pages has. Let's see how advanced it can get. Okay, so Pages here. I'm gonna get on the view. You see, there's already a view tab over there. Just click it, and well, the view is very basic compared to Microsoft Word. You can see it has like page thumbnails, table of contents, document only, so show various items. Basically, that's all that is. There's no like read view, web view, cool view, or whatever it is, like print mode or whatever it is. So Microsoft Word won the contest in capabilities for viewing. Yeah, so that is the end of this comparison. And overall, I would say Microsoft Word won because it had the most features. And overall, I think it's the better of the two word processors. Though it does cost money, whereas Pages is a free program in addition to being included with macOS. And yes, that is the end of this tutorial, not tutorial, but comparison, and see you next time.